Héctor Olivera was born on April 5, 1985, in Havana, Cuba, into a family where baseball was more than just a pastime. It was a passion that ran deep. From a young age, Olivera exhibited an affinity for sports, especially baseball, which is considered the heartbeat of Cuban culture. His father, who had been an amateur baseball player in his youth, recognized his son's potential and made sure to foster his talent. Growing up in Havana, a city known for its rich baseball history, Olivera was immersed in a community where young athletes were encouraged to pursue the sport with everything they had. At the age of 10, Olivera joined the local youth baseball league, where his natural athleticism and strong arm quickly set him apart. His initial interest was in the outfield, but it was in the infield, specifically as a second baseman, that he would eventually find his calling. Throughout his youth, he displayed not only his physical gifts but also a deep understanding of the game's nuances, learning how to read pitchers, anticipate plays, and adjust his strategy. His raw talent soon garnered attention, and by the time he reached his teenage years, Olivera was recruited to play for one of Cuba's premier youth teams, allowing him to further develop his skills against top-tier competition. His abilities became evident on the field, as he excelled in his role and earned a spot on Cuba's national youth teams, where he would represent his country in various international tournaments. Professional career in Cuba. The rise of a star. Olivera's career in professional baseball began in the Cuban National Series, the highest level of amateur baseball in Cuba. He joined the Havana Industriales in 2004, one of the most storied teams in Cuban baseball history. From the moment he stepped onto the field, it was clear that he was a player destined for greatness. His exceptional skills as a second baseman, combined with his above-average power for the position, made him an immediate impact player. His first few years in the Cuban National Series were marked by a steep learning curve, but his progress was rapid. Olivera's offensive production was highlighted by his impressive bat control, quick hands, and an ability to drive the ball to all fields. His combination of speed and power made him a unique talent, and by 2007, he was already regarded as one of the top players in the league. His batting average consistently hovered near 300, and his speed allowed him to steal bases with ease, making him an offensive weapon for the Industriales. As his career progressed, Olivera began to receive national attention, and by 2009, he had established himself as one of the premier infielders in Cuban baseball. His consistency, paired with his steady improvement, earned him a spot on the Cuban national team, a significant achievement in a country known for its deep pool of baseball talent. In 2009, he played a key role in helping Cuba win the Baseball World Cup and represented the country in several international tournaments, including the World Baseball Classic. During his time with the Industriales, Olivera led the team to several playoff appearances, and his play on the field made him a fan favorite in Havana. His excellent glove work at second base and ability to turn double plays made him a crucial defensive component of the team, while his bat helped elevate the Industriales' offense to new heights. He was seen as a future cornerstone for both the Industriales and the Cuban national team, and the prospect of him making it to international competitions was a source of pride for his hometown. Peak of his career. International recognition and dominance. The peak of Héctor Olivera's career came in the early 2010s, during his time with the Cuban national team and the Industriales. By this point, Olivera had firmly established himself as one of the top infielders not just in Cuba but globally. His play in international competitions helped him gain recognition beyond Cuba's borders. Olivera's biggest achievement on the international stage came in 2012, when he was selected for the Cuban national team to compete in the World Baseball Classic, WBC. His performance in the tournament showcased his talents on the global stage, as he impressed scouts, coaches, and baseball enthusiasts with his well-rounded skills. The Cuban team made it to the semifinals, with Olivera contributing key hits and defensive plays. In Cuba, Olivera continued to dominate the Cuban National Series, earning numerous accolades along the way. He won multiple Gold Gloves for his outstanding defense and was regularly named to the All-Star team. His batting continued to be one of his strongest assets, and by 2013, he was considered one of the top 10 players in the Cuban National Series. His consistent production at the plate, combined with his leadership qualities, helped solidify his position as one of the brightest stars in Cuban baseball. In 2014, after years of success in Cuba, Olivera made the life-changing decision to defect from Cuba and pursue a career in Major League Baseball, MLB, in the United States. This was a difficult choice for him, as he was leaving behind a legacy and a successful career in Cuba. However, the opportunity to play in MLB was one he could not pass up. Defection to the MLB. The beginning of a new chapter. Olivera's decision to defect to the United States came at a time when the talent pool of Cuban baseball players was becoming increasingly sought after by major league teams. His exceptional play with Industriales and the Cuban national team had drawn the attention of several MLB scouts, and his defection created a buzz in baseball circles. After his defection, Olivera's journey to MLB was not an easy one. He faced a complicated and lengthy process to secure his status as a free agent, as he had to navigate the legal hurdles associated with being a defected player from Cuba. Despite the challenges, Olivera's talent was undeniable, and it wasn't long before the Los Angeles Dodgers signed him to a $62.5 million contract in 2015, one of the largest contracts ever offered to a Cuban player at the time. Although his transition to MLB was met with high expectations, Olivera struggled to adjust to the demands of the major leagues. He made his MLB debut with the Dodgers in 2015 but faced several challenges. Injuries and inconsistency at the plate prevented him from living up to the expectations that had surrounded him. Despite his evident skills, Olivera's MLB career never reached the heights that many had predicted. In 2016, Olivera was traded to the Atlanta Braves, where he played briefly before being suspended due to an off-field incident involving a domestic dispute. This suspension marked a significant setback in his career. It disrupted his momentum and ultimately affected his standing in Major League Baseball. Final years and legacy. After his suspension and the subsequent controversy surrounding his off-field issues, Olivera's time in MLB became limited. He never fully recovered his form, and his playing time in the majors dwindled. The final years of his baseball career were marked by his inability to make a lasting impact in the major leagues, and after the 2017 season, he was released by the Braves. Olivera then continued his career in the Independent Baseball League, but his time in the spotlight had passed. Despite the challenges he faced in the latter part of his career, Héctor Olivera's legacy in Cuban baseball remains intact. His early years in the Cuban National Series were defined by excellence, and his international success with the Cuban national team contributed to his stature as one of the top players of his generation. His transition to MLB may not have lived up to expectations, but his impact on Cuban baseball and the legacy he left behind in his home country is undeniable. Although his time in the spotlight was brief, Héctor Olivera's journey through baseball serves as a testament to his skill, perseverance, and the challenges that come with the pursuit of greatness. His contributions to Cuban baseball will always be remembered, and his story remains an important chapter in the history of the sport.